Welcome back into Talking Fitchburg. Brand new guest to the show today, but she's been here a while now. Jessica Wolfe, right there, part of our Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative, but more importantly, she's the Community Development Program Coordinator. What a cool title. Jessica, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
I'm good, coming off of the long weekend.
I know, you're first interview, you haven't done this before. You come off a long weekend, and now we're just going to go.
We're going to get going.
Yeah. Well, we've got a lot to talk about because you're working on a lot of things behind the scenes. For folks not familiar with the Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative, or we say H&I here, but tell us a little bit about what the program is.
Yeah, so the program is focused on 4 neighborhoods in the northern part of Fitchburg. That includes North Fish Hatchery, Southdale, the Allied Belmar area, and then Verona Road West. And the initiative started about in 2017, I believe. There's a committee, and the primary point of the initiative is to bring support to these neighborhoods in whatever way that they need, whether that be food security, housing help, transportation help, those types of things.
It's pretty cool. And why did they set this up in the beginning of time? Like, why did they identify this as areas to help or improve or make better?
Right. Great question. So a long time ago when the program was getting started, CARP-C did some research on the neighborhoods and identified them as lower income. And so then one of our planners took that study that they did and worked with UW-Madison to create the plan that we now have. It was just working with census data and a lot of data that come together to be like, the city can help support in transportation needs, housing needs, and the plan kind of spearheaded all of that. And then that led to the grant program, where we work with the neighborhoods to kind of decide what it is that they need or want support in.
I'm so glad you mentioned the grant program because that was where we're going next. So part of this process is there's some funds set aside for grants. How does the grant process work?
Yeah, so the grants, the process is, most of it is in the first half of the year, and that's when the grant opens and organizations can apply. This year it was different, and we changed the funding amount. It used to be $15,000 as the maximum. This year we changed to $25,000 in hopes to fund less organizations and that they have a bigger impact. It's open for about a month. It opens in January and goes through February, where the organizations can apply. And then we get the applications in. The committee and a couple staff members go and score all of the applications internally. We do some analysis on the scores because it's kind of on a Likert scale. It's 1 through 4, and we do averages and run a couple of equations. And then we bring the numbers back to the committee and say, based on the scoring averages and these numbers, here is who scored the highest, and that's how we create our recommendations for funding. And then the committee has a discussion on, they can change things around if they want to fund somebody else who's not included in the recommendations after that meeting. And the committee approves the recommended organizations, then it goes to council approves, and then the organizations get notified that they will be receiving X amount of dollars for the year.
And then as far as the grantees and them providing services, what can those services look like? I mean, it's all over the board, which is pretty cool, though.
It is all over the board. So there's pillars in the original plan. There's youth programming, workforce development, community building, and then food security. There may be another in there that I'm not remembering. But this year, there's a lot of emphasis on food security with the federal administration. They're not receiving as many funds there, so we're kind of helping to supplement that. But there's also some innovative things happening, like Bikes for Kids did a bike giveaway. We usually have Munch Mobile, who goes around and they do free snacks and things for kids throughout the year. In the past, we've done workforce development type of things, and there's Try for Schools, which does the Birdie Derby and kids-based activities as well, where they train them for a triathlon. So it goes all over the place in terms of funding, and every year is a little different.
And then another, so again, you're doing a lot of things here, but another part of this too is the community events that are happening. So there are a lot of community-focused events that are happening within these neighborhoods. For people not familiar with that, what are some of the events that take place in the different neighborhoods? And it varies depending where you're at.
It does. So this year with the Hostahoche being open, we changed the scoring a little bit to incentivize organizations to hold some programming at that facility. So this year we'll be having community dinners as well as food pantries, and then a back to school night where they'll give out free backpacks and clothes. And actually 2 organizations that we are funding are partnering on that event to host free food, but then also give away the school supplies. Then there's one in Southdale. There's a resource fair every year that a River Food Pantry puts on. And then Munch goes throughout all 4 of the neighborhoods. Verona Road West, the city's doing their own thing with popsicles in the park. And then the Allied neighborhood, the Boys and Girls Club holds their programming there. So each neighborhood gets hit with some programming. Some have a little bit more offered to them than others, and we're currently working on evening that out.
The other side of this is how can people get these services? So the cool thing, we've had some talks because we're working on the outreach stuff, but the service providers that are out there or the nonprofit organizations that are there to support. How do people get connected with the different services or the grantees that are happening in their neighborhoods?
Yeah, I would say to go to their websites or follow them on their social medias. A lot of them post their information out. They can also look on the city website to see who we're funding. There's a tab that they can click into to see who it is the city's supporting. But I would say in terms of finding the organization itself, looking at their website and their social medias.
And then we do have a person designee. I'm trying to blank on the name right now, but a person that's out in the community. How are they helping?
Yep. So Diego is who we have out in the community this summer, and his role is to promote and do outreach for the Early Childhood Zone, which is funding that we receive through Dane County. And so that's for families in all of Fitchburg who have a child 5 or under, and if they get referred into the program, then they get home visiting as well as mental health support, housing support, and education support. But Diego also does outreach for the city, so if he comes along someone and like, we don't have a kid under 5, but they're interested in the rec programs or they're interested in the library, we can provide them with that information. Or if they need housing support or education support or legal support, he's got a binder of resources where he can say, the Fitchburg doesn't have any programs specifically, but the city of Madison, you can contact this organization or this organization, and he's bilingual, so he's also able to work a lot with the Spanish population.
It's awesome. All right, well, if people want to get a hold of Diego or you, how can they get in contact with any questions?
Yeah, they can shoot me an email, call me. Same with Diego. He's got a city email and a phone to just reach out and call or send an email. It's really all that it takes. Definitely
keep an eye out for that stuff. We'll keep posting up the different events and whatnot. And you can catch there is the H&I committee, Healthy Neighborhoods Initiative committee as well. So you can tune in to kind of see the ongoing work as well.
Yes. Yep.
All right. Jessica, thank you so much for sneaking in here, and keep up the good work.
Thanks. You're welcome.